What's up, duelists? I just got done playing a metric ton of games with Roghnach. The reason I say metric is because he's from Europe, so he uses the metric system. Of course, everybody knows Roghnach is the frog guy. He plays only frog decks, so I was like, yo, you gotta help me out. I gotta test against frogs. I gotta test against whatever you think the sauce is, and he's like, alright, I'm gonna bring this list. This is what I think is the best frog list right now. So he's playing what he thinks, he's a frog expert, is the best frog list right now against my fairy deck. I play a whole bunch of different builds in this. I play a whole bunch of different cards in this. I'm just trying to figure out what cards I liked, what cards I didn't like. I'll give you guys like kind of a rough example of what I was playing. This is close to what I was playing towards the end. So let me bounce this out for you guys. This is close to what I was playing towards the end. I'm not really happy with the Sky Scourge. I only drew it once in all of the matches. I'm going to show you there's a ton of matches. I only drew it once and it didn't really do anything, so I was not very happy with it. I was on the fence about Tragodia. It was good in some cases and bad in some cases. I found myself really missing the third Dialk. I think this card is insane. I don't know if it's like obviously I was siding it out versus Frogs, but I just find myself missing this card. I feel like it's really strong. It's like one of my favorite cards in the deck. Whether or not I should be playing 3 is like a totally different story, but yeah. And then I also, in the earlier parts of the game, instead of playing Call of the Haunted compulsory and I think it was just Call of the Haunted compulsory, I was playing 1 Royal Decree and 1 Mind Control, and I just kept dead drawing them like over and over and over again. So for the second half of the matches, I replaced them with Call of the Haunted and compulsory because compulsory has just been overperforming. I looked at all my sideboard plans and I'm like, I'm siding this in every matchup. It should probably just be mained. And once I added it into the main deck, like the improvement that it had on everything was just like astronomical. It was like much better having this card in the main than having it in the side totally. And then I also went up to a 3rd copy in the side as well. And I added Mirror Force to the side. This isn't for the frog matchup. I wouldn't be siding it in the frog matchup, but I did like think about it and I was like, I'm probably going to miss this card. I may or may not have it here. I'm not really sure, but it's just something I'm thinking about in the future. But this is roughly the configuration. Not super happy with the Invisil. Not super happy with the Mirror Force. There was one point where I didn't have the Mirror Force and I think it was the Invisil. No, I had the Invisil the whole time. I didn't have the Mirror Force in the second Oppression, and I had Double Crow and Soul Release, and I was siding them in, and they were just doing nothing. You guys will see in the matches. Let's just go ahead and get into things. I think there's a lot, and the games are going to speak for themselves, right? So, lose the rock, paper, scissors in match 1. So this is match 1. Match 1. We open up pretty shit. We have Mind Control and Heavy Storm versus Frogs. These are 2 cards that we actually side out versus Frogs, so we open up pretty poorly. And Soul of Purity and Light is also another card that I side out versus Frogs. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the siding patterns that I was doing. Let me just throw a random card in my sideboard. Let's say Time Wizard for the OTS Time Wizard. Okay, cool. So the rough siding patterns that I was doing was like I have this many cards I want to take out basically in this matchup. You guys are going to see in a second why I want to side like this. We'll go to the siding portion. So versus his list in particular, I was siding out 1 Nova, 1 Dialk, Heavy Storm, and then Soul of Purity and Light. So these 4 were coming out, and I was bringing in Cyber Dragon, Invisil, Compulsory. And then in some of the games, I was siding out some combination of Return and Call for like Oppressions, Mask of Restrict, Shadow Mirror. And Shadow Mirror actually, or Mask of Restrict was coming in every single time, I think. Just depending on what it was, play or draw, it was coming in over something else. But those were the 4 cards that were coming in every single time. Like I was cutting Heavy Storm, Soul of Purity and Light, 1 Dialk, 1 Nova Summoner every single time. And then whether or not I cut Thunder Kings on the play or draw, or whether or not I cut like Card Trooper or Trag or something like that, there were some times where I cut 1 Book of Moon. There were some times where I cut Brain Control. It just depended on how he was siding, because we played a large volume of matches, and each match we sided differently. So I was like adapting every single game, basically. So the Mask of Restrict was coming in every single time, but I'm not necessarily certain what it was coming in over every single time. That'll just have to be shown in the matches. So yeah, I start off with T-Set, because even though I know he's playing Frogs, because we're testing, if I sat down from a random opponent, this is the play I would make. If I knew my opponent was playing Frogs, I would not make this play. I wouldn't do that. I would like set Heavy Storm. That's probably what I would do. Just set Heavy Storm and pass. But because I know my opponent is playing, because I'm assuming I don't know what he's playing, then I'm going to T-set turn 1. So yeah, I pass a turn. He passes a turn back. I draw another Recruiter. This is one thing that I noticed when I was testing is if you have 5 of them, you just draw so fucking many of them and they just clog up your hand. I'm thinking about going back down to 4, honestly. I don't think you need more than 4, even with 3 Christia, actually, which is crazy to think. He sets back row, passes a turn. Now I'm kicking myself for setting the book into my own heavy storm. But hey, here we are, because the heavy storm would actually get value now, whereas it wouldn't before. So do I trade the book for his back row and my heavy storm? That's not really a great trade. I think I just pass again. I don't really want to proc like a battle fader or anything. I don't really have a great way to deal with things. I don't set solemn because I don't want to play into my own storm. I also don't want to play into his storm. I don't want to be forced to solemn his storm. He sets a monster and passes. We draw the Royal Decree, and this is like the first of many games where I've drawn Decree, Storm, Mind Control, Soul versus Frogs, and I'm just like, bruh. I draw the 4 cards that I guaranteedly side out every single time. You'll see. Anyway, I just set 2, pass. He goes ahead and Soul exchanges, sacks for Mobius. I solemn the Mobius, but it's 2 for 2 for him, and he deals 4,000, so it's pretty favorable exchange. We pick up a second Honest. Things don't look great. I just set the Nova Summoner. He has Soul exchange again. He goes for big Substitute stuff. I could book him here, but there's really no point because I have no way to deal with a set Substitute with his hand anyway, so I'm just going to let it happen. I do book him, actually, because I'm going to go Soul Honest over the set Substitute, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of a lost cause at this point. I will say that much. We pick up Christia, but the Soul fucks us up. We can't really get to 4 effectively, so we have to summon the Soul, attack the set monster, Honest pitch, get over the Substitute, pass the turn. He enemy controller takes, and then he goes Terraforming for Mausoleum, and then he sets Gear Town, sets Mausoleum, specials out the Ancient Gear Dragon, revealing the deck that he is on. So he's playing an Ancient Gear Frog deck. This is the list that he won a Nintendo Switch with last weekend in Los Angeles, and it's also the list he brought to the IRL RBET, and it's also the list that he has a profile of coming out on my channel in the next few days. So you guys are going to get to see a full profile of this deck. It is fucking insane. When we were testing it last week, because we got in on Thursday, and we spent pretty much all of Thursday and Friday testing it, it felt insane. Like, the deck is crazy good. So, yeah, you just have crazy turns like this where your opponent's, like, solemned, or they have, like, a little bit of a weaker start, and then, out of nowhere, you're taking 5,000, you're just donezo. And then Light and Darkness Dragon comes down. He is playing 3 copies of that. So this is, like, one of the scarier board setups. You never really want to drop below 5,800 versus this deck. So we lose game 1. And we figure out what he's playing. So game 2, what do we draw into? We draw into our Mask. We draw into our Thunder King. So we have a great start. We have Thunder King for Terraforming. Normally Thunder King's not very good against Frog Monarch decks, but because he does play Terraforming, and he does play, that's it really. It just shuts off Terraforming, which is, honestly, the way we lose this matchup is Terraforming into Gear Town into Lad, or Terraforming into Mausoleum into Lad. So that's why we need the Thunder King, is to just close those as soon as possible. We just summon Thunder King, set the Mask, pass. He sets a monster. I hold the Mask because I know he's playing triple Soul Exchange. I know his list, so yeah, I'm just waiting for him to go for a Soul Exchange or something, and then I'm going to flip Mask. He sets a monster, and then on his next turn, I'm going to flip the Mask of Restrict. I'm just going to summon Shining Angel, attack the set, attack for 14. Had he had, like, Dupe Frog, it would have been annoying. He drops Gores. This is really annoying, but it's fine. We just set book, pass. We can, I forget what happens here. Oh, we can use Honest to clear one of these guys. It doesn't really matter. I flip Mask, I think, in response to the Treeborn. Yep. He goes past turn. We draw Christia. We go ahead and summon Freed, attack the token, attack the Gores, Honest over the Gores, pass the turn. He sets the monster, passes the turn. We draw Raikou, which is really good. Set that, pass the turn. He draws. He can't really play under Mask Thunder King. Like, there's just not that much he can do. It shuts off Terraforming here in his hand. It shuts off Enemy Controller here in his hand. Shuts off Substitute here in his hand. And it shuts off, like, all these tribute monsters that he has. So he's pretty much just completely locked under Thunder King Mask of Restrict, which is pretty much the game plan, my deck versus his deck. He goes Treeborn attack, but it's Raikou. And this is why Raikou is still good in this deck, because under Mask of Restrict, it helps you get over these 2,000 defenders. I was thinking about going up to a second Raikou and a second Mask of Restrict, just so that could be my game plan versus Frogs. Because I actually think Raikou plus the books plus the Mask versus Frogs is, like, not a bad game plan. You can pick apart their defenders, and then he tries to terraform me here, but I remind him that Thunder King is active. He sets monster, passes the turn. I book the Raikou. I flip it. I pop his thing. I mill enough fairies to drop Christia, and that's going to be all she wrote, pretty much. All right, game 3. So we lost game 1. We won game 2 because our game plan was initiated. And this is when we still had the Soul Release in our sideboard. I was citing out the extra Nova Summoner for it, which, as you can see, is shit because we have the Herald in our hand. So it's good to notice. Plus, his deck, we don't really care about the frogs. Like, we're gonna kind of ignore the frogs and try to just flood him out and then like out tempo him basically. I don't think we really are winning a game where we're like fighting the frogs. I don't think we're winning the game when we're fighting on that axis. But this is the first match I have against him. I'm just trying out different strategies. I'm trying to figure it out. Later in the games, you'll see I stop siding the soul releases, and then even later, I take them out of my sideboard entirely. So yeah, we'll get into that in a second. You go Substitute, activate, brings out Swap Frog, sends, passes the turn. And here I'm just like in an awkward spot. I'm like, if I just soul release the frog, he just summons the Swap Frog again. Am I gonna solemn it? Like that feels really bad. You know, I solemn it, all of a sudden he Gear Towns me and I lose. So I'm like, I definitely should have soul released here, and this is a misplay because I think that that's my only like out to winning the game is if I have like Solemn for the Swap Frog, Oppression for anything he specials off Gear Town, and then that's how I'm winning. But yeah, I didn't soul release because I got greedy. I thought maybe there's a chance that I can get both Treeborn Frogs, but it was really stupid. I should have soul released, and that cost me the game. So yeah, we lose. I draw DD Warrior Lady. I have an opportunity here to hit the other Treeborn with my DD Warrior Lady, but I want to hit this 2000 Defender because I know like that I can't get over it with my Thunder King. Even though I should have thought, I don't have another fairy for this, I'm going to just summon and like Synchro next turn. I should just banish his Treeborn, force him to send the other one, maybe soul release that. Maybe my soul release will actually do something then. But as it stands, it's just not good for me. We attack over the Treeborn, and I should have soul released here again, but I just didn't. I keep misplaying. I misplayed a lot in this first match. This was like first match of the day for me. I had just woken up. I am sick right now, so like I have a lot of Johns. I have a lot of excuses for why I messed up the first match, but yeah, you know, your first match of the day usually mess stuff up. That's why you practice, right? So we saw him the Storm. He goes for, I don't remember. We fixed the math eventually. He goes for Caius. We chain book on Caius. We basically have to rip a monster. We don't. We draw the mask a little bit too late. So go into the next game. This is match number 2. Match number 2, I'm like, all right, I've adjusted my sideboard strategy. Opening hand, we got Torrential, which is an FTK versus Frog. So we draw Honest. We can go DD Warrior Lady attack. Flips Dupe Frog. I have a couple of plays here. I actually think the right play is to banish the Dupe Frog in hindsight. I messed up this opening, basically. What I should have done was banish the Dupe Frog and then special Trag and attack for 24. Not only does it... pardon me. Not only does it get damage in, but it cuts him off from Treeborn Frog. Because he doesn't have Treeborn Frog access as of right now. And he won't be able to, like, do tribute stuff. But the way his deck is built, it's not really reliant on Treeborn Frog. So I thought, like, whatever, if he has Treeborn, at least he's, like, spending that turn summoning Swap Frog. In hindsight, I definitely should have just banished and not dropped the Trag. Or banish, drop the Trag, and attack directly. But I definitely should have banished either way. So, yeah, attack over the Dupe Frog. He searches Swap Frog. Little player there. I set the bottomless. I passed. He goes Terraforming, and I'm like, fuck me. So the way we lose this matchup is if he has, like, 16 Gear Towns. That's the way we lose. This card is broken. Terraforming Gear Town is broken, especially with Light and Darkness. Here he has Brain Control too, which is really rough. Gear Town over Gear Town, special summons out the Gear Boy. I have to bottomless this, which sucks. He sacks for Morbius, pops his own spell, brings out Ancient Gear, pitches for Swap Frog, attacks the Trag, attacks us directly for 1,000. Now, how we just held the Trag, we would have been fine. But yeah, he attacks for 24. He can bounce his Morbius here. He does. We pick up Herald of Orange, turn too late. Unfortunate, but just the way it goes. Summon Honest, attack over Swap Frog. I have to set Torrential and hope he plays into it. He gets back Treeborn. He goes ahead and soul exchanges and plays into it. So we did draw our FTK piece, which is Torrential Tribute. But is it going to be enough to win? We're at 2,900, and we drew double Christia. So no, it's not. Spoiler alert, because he's able to just Mausoleum out the Light and Darkness Dragon and go for exact lethal with the Treeborn Frog. So yeah, a little bit unlucky on our part that he opened triple Terraforming and Brain Control. That's like, again, that's basically the nuts. Like this is how we end up losing the game, is with the Terraforming Brain Control shit and like Soul Exchange. Like he just have 5 really good spell cards, and we can't really beat that. But I also played this game like shit, so something to think about for sure. Because if I had ever stuck like a 3,000 Trag, he had like literally no outs after the Brain Control was gone. So definitely something to think about for sure. Anyway, we go to game 3. I think this is game 3, or was that game 1? I don't fucking remember. Oh yeah, that was game 1. Okay, yep, game 1. Game 2. This is game 2, match 2. Oh my god, there's going to be so many matches in this. We played so many matches. I draw my Compulsory, I draw my Thunder King. Great start. I basically summon Thunder King. He can't terraforming. If he goes for Soul Exchange, we can Compulsory bounce our Thunder King, and he can't like sack it. And then if he attacks us, we can drop Gores. So yeah, we also open Torrential. So like this is the best match so far. And he did open Soul Exchange, and we are going to be able to trade that with our Compulsory. This is why I like Compulsory versus his deck specifically. Compulsory is also really good at putting the Ancient Gear guy back in his hand. So yeah. He goes Substitute to activate, but I'm super cool with this. He doesn't attack into Gores, and he leaves the Swap Frog in defense. So when you leave the Swap Frog in defense like this, it means you don't have like Battle Fade or Gores. It means you're just like, you want to protect your life total. So I'm like, okay, he doesn't have Battle Fade or Gores. I'm going to go Card Trooper, mill 1, attack over Swap Frog, set my Torrential Tribute pass. Treeborn Frog comes back. He goes ahead and sacks it for Ancient Gear Beast. We go for Torrential, Card Trooper drawing us a card. I've been very impressed with Card Trooper. I'm a big fan. We draw a card here. We draw into Bottomless. So yeah, we're just like sacked. We have a really good hand. We have more cards. We're drawing up to 6 cards. He's at 4. He does have active Treeborn, but we have Solemn Bottomless, so we're fine. We pick up another Thunder King. I just summon it, swing. Like I said, I know he doesn't have Fade or Gores because he left the Swap Frog in defense. So yeah, we go ahead and set Bottomless, pass the turn. If he goes for a Monarch, we trade 2 for 2, summon Thunder King. We have all the initiative. We're winning this one 10 times out of 10. He sets a monster, but I have DD Warrior Lady. That can banish his set monster. I do attack over the Treeborn, I think. No, I don't. I should have, in case he didn't want to bring it back. But hold up, I got a cough. 1 second. Alright, I'm back. Yeah. He just goes Substitute activate. I saw him the Substitute because I just don't want to deal with like a soft dupe block right now. My hand doesn't really deal with it well. So I'm just going to Solemn that. It's his normal summon. We'll buy an extra turn. We pick up Royal Oppression, which is really good. That stops the Gear Town shit. So we just go Thunder King, attack for 19, set the Royal Oppression, pass the turn. He brings back Treeborn, sacks for Morbius, but we have Bottomless for that. We're dealing lethal damage next turn with the Dimensional Alchemist. We attack for 13 in case he has Gores. We want it to be weaker target. It doesn't matter. I probably should have attacked with a pumped up Alchemist because if he has Gores and he waits to drop it on Thunder King, that means it cuts off Brain Control. So what I should have done actually was pump up the D-Alch. Misplay on my part. I thought it wouldn't matter, and I thought like exposing more of my deck for poach board is more important in the case that he doesn't have Gores. But in reality, if he does have Gores, it's better for me to banish to play around Brain Control. So yeah, mistake on my part. Anyway, he brings back Treeborn, passes the turn. We sack for Sidra. Sidra runs over the token. We switch the Alchemist. We set Compulsory. We're pretty much slated to win whenever anything happens because we have Gores, we have Compulsory. We can force in the last few points of damage pretty easy. He goes Enemy Controller for the Thunder King. We chain Compulse on the Gores. The reason we do that is because Gores is dead now, so Compulse is just 1-for-1 for the Gores. And if he takes Thunder King and then brings back Treeborn, and then he like sacks Treeborn Thunder King for Light and Darkness Dragon, that could be really bad for us. So yeah, that's basically the plan. So he sacks it for Caius, banishes, goes Terraforming for Gear Town, brings out the Ancient Gear Dragon, makes Chimera Tech, attacks directly, but we have our Gores, which is really good. So positionally, we're big chillin'. I mean, we know he has a dead Gores in hand. We know he has these cards. Next turn, he can double tribute for Gores to trade with ours, but that puts him down to 1 card. We know his set card is not very useful. He tries to normal summon twice, but yeah, I caught him. No, just kidding. We draw Cyber Dragon, which is good, but not that good. If we drew another monster here, that would have been really good. I think we just run over the Caius. Yeah, I ran over the Caius because I didn't want him to have like Swap Frog plus Water. That would have owned us. So yeah, he goes, sets the monster. And as you can see, he has that Swap Frog, so good thing we attack the Caius there. Heads up play. We draw Shining Angel. We can start running over all his dudes. We attack over the Chimera Tech, attack over this guy. Pass the turn. He Space Typhoons his own Gear Town. He attacks over the Gores. This is tough, but we do have Chimera Tech, I think, and Bottomless. Yeah, so if we draw another monster, we're winning next turn. And we do. So we go to the next game. Next game, we have, sorry, did I just cough into the mic? I don't even know. I feel like I just coughed into the mic. Anyway, I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm just very sick. This game we open up pretty good. It's not the best, but it's pretty good. We're going second. He goes Draw Pass. Draw Pass always favors us, so we just set Compulsory Pass. I probably shouldn't have set Compulsory, but yeah. The reason we leave in 3 Christia versus him is because he plays Mausoleum. So that's the reason we weren't siding out 3 Christia. Sometimes against Frogs, I like to side out Christias. Because even though people are like, oh, Christia is how you beat Frogs, I like fucking totally disagree. I think the way you beat Frogs is you get like a couple of little dudes going. And then you just keep them off their dude and you flood them out with like Mask of Restrict or Royal Oppression or something. Like, that's how you beat frogs, is you just, like, out-tempo them, and then you, like, keep them on the back foot the whole game. And then they basically have to draw defense, and they don't play defense. And then on top of that, you can just, like, herald on the turn they try to come back. So, like, I feel like the way to beat frogs is actually, like, you establish a threat, you clear the 2,000 defenders with, like, Warrior Ladies, Cyber Dragons, whatever, compulses, and then you have Herald for Gores when you go for game. So that's the way I see it. Or Herald for Caius when they try to come back. I think that's, like, usually how you beat frogs is you out-tempo them, because they always start behind a turn. They always start by having to go Substitoad or Swap Frog into Treeborn Frog, so you always have the initiative when you play against frogs. And I think Christia is just a pipe dream. Like, the only time Christia is ever really coming out is when you, like, just randomly herald twice, or, like, they soul exchange one of your fairies and you mill 3 more with a card trooper or something like that. It's actually, like, pretty inconsistent versus frogs. Even if you go, like, let's say you crash a recruiter into a Caius 4 times and you drop a Christia, like, that's not even fucking good, because you've taken 8,000 damage doing that, and then they just brain control your Christia, or enemy control your Christia, and you lose. So, yeah, no, it's pretty bad. I do leave in 3 because he has the Mausoleum. He goes for Lad here, which is going to trade 3 for 2 versus us. We go Compulsory, target the Lad, it negates, and then we Herald, destroy the Lad. We pick up another Herald, which is good, so we just pass. He just passes. We pick up DD Warrior Lady. We just pass. Again, Drago always favors us. Even though he does have OTKs. Yeah, pretty much. Anyway, we pick up Freed, which is, like, the best possible, because we can summon him and attack, and if he has Trag or Gores, then main phase 2 we can pop it, basically. Yeah, that's the plan. I'm so sorry, guys. I've been feeling under the weather, so I keep taking frequent breaks to cough. But I want to make sure you guys get this content. Here he terraformings for Black Garden, which destroys us this game, I think. I think we might play around it. I'm not sure. Anyway, he goes Black Garden. After the Gear Town. This is going to make it very difficult for our Herald to ever be active. And that's his game plan versus Fairies, is to go Black Garden, Gear Town, Black Garden. And then, like, we just struggle versus that, basically. We take 3,000. He passes the turn. We pick up Shining Angel. There's a couple of different plays here we can make. I think the best play is to go Freed Pop. But we could also go, like, Cyber Dragon, eat his guy. And I thought about this a lot. Yeah, I thought about it a lot. I'm not sure which is better. We could have also gone Cyber Dragon, Black Rose with the Herald. But that puts us to 3 fairies and not 4 fairies. I think I go Freed Pop, but I'm not sure if that's the right play. In hindsight, I don't think it's the right play. The reason I liked it, though, is because, as opposed to going Cyber Dragon, Black Rose, he leaves him with no monsters in play A, and a Black Garden in play B. So, like, this is the only play that leaves him with just a Black Garden and no monsters. Or it keeps the Black Garden in play, and then it leaves him with no monsters. So, yeah. It also keeps our Herald in hand in case he has, like, a... I don't fucking know. I really don't know. Substitoad or something. We blow it up, attack over the token, and then I think we set the book and pass. Yeah, he has brain control, but we have book, which is good for us. He sets a card, passes a turn. A lot of back row here. We know he does play the Treacherous because I've seen his list, so it's important to play around it. We just attack into Battle Fader. We get a token here, which turns on the Treacherous Trap Hole. I set Book of Moon and I just pass. There's no reason to set anything else because it just turns on his Treacherous even further. He sacks for Dark Dust. We get a token. He attacks for 1,100. We take it because it's only 11. We draw a Bottomless. And here what I should have realized is I can summon Angel. He'll get a token and I can crash into it. But I didn't realize that. So I just set Warrior Lady, set Bottomless, pass. That was a pretty big error on my part, not knowing that. Because I can go Angel Crash 4 times or whatever. Take 400. Is this a post-board game? I might not have had Nova Summoners in my deck. Never mind that. I couldn't do that. I don't think I could have done that. And he would have got a bunch of tokens, so that wouldn't have been super good, actually, in hindsight. Anyway, he goes for the Soul Exchange. Sacks for Caius. Gets a 50-50 right. We chain Bottomless. So we don't get a token, apparently, because Black Garden needs to have the attack. And because Bottomless resolve first, we don't get this token. I don't know how it works. Anyway, we drew Mask of Restrict, which is fucking goated. We get a 2-for-1 here, or a +1 here. You go Swap Frog Send, we get a token. And then he just passes a turn. We attack the Swap Frog. He loses his Swap Frog. Again, we're still just playing around that Treacherous till the end of time, basically. He sets Dew Frog, passes the turn. You draw Herald of Orange, just pass the turn. Oh, I set Herald of Orange because I'm trying to set up for like a synchro play, but I didn't realize I could like not tribute summon my Cyber Dragon because of my own Mask of Restrict, so it's a little bit awkward here basically. I shouldn't have set the Herald, that was actually a choke. Pass the turn, he sets monster, I pick up Christia, and I'm like, fuck. Like, imagine I could tribute set here, that'd be so good. I tribute set my 2 fairies, set the Christia, he treacherouses. We go to 3 fairies, you know, it sets up for the second Christia, but it's all the same, right? We flip Shining Angel, we flip Herald of Orange, we go Bryonic. I'm trying to set up for a Christia Bryonic situation. He gets a token, and then he goes Treacherous, pop both our monsters, and I'm like, fuck. Now I'm stuck. So he doesn't get the, actually he doesn't get the token because he chains Treacherous before we get priority to activate Bryonic. So yeah, our Dust Shoot looking kind of awkward, but here we are. I maybe should have kept it in hand with the idea of going for the Bryonic. It's just something to pitch. Doesn't really matter. We just pass the turn. He flips the Duke Frog, attacks for 100. We take 100. He flips the second Duke Frog, passes the turn. We pick up Thunder King, which is good. I just set that and pass. Mistake. This is a huge mistake. So now with the Treacherous gone, what I should have done is I should have special summoned Cyber Dragon and run over the token. Next turn I can normal Herald of Orange Light, Black Rose the field, normal summon, or I could have even normal set Herald of Orange Light. Next turn Black Rose the field, and then normal summon something, and then start killing him, start winning. I'm not really sure, but I should have set up for a Black Rose basically. It doesn't really matter. This game goes on for fucking ever, by the way. Like as you can see, this is like 80 million years into the match. I mean, this is match 2, so the log is like kind of off, but yeah, we draw another fairy monster, and I set the Herald of Orange Light, which is just so fucking stupid. I played this game so dumb. I'm gonna be honest. I like should have set up for that Black Rose like 18 million turns ago, but he goes Terraforming and outs the Black Garden for me, and I'm just like, thank God, because like I couldn't beat that shit, you know. But I can definitely beat whatever he goes for here. When he sets the Gear Town, we don't chain Trap Dust Shoot, but we go Trap Dust Shoot, and we get to see his hand. We get to see that he has Soul Exchange, Gear Town, and Gorz, so he's pretty much just like stuck here. He'll get the Gadgetron guy or the Ancient Gear Engineer, which is pretty good. This guy pops the Mask of Restrict. This is one of his special techs that he plays in this deck. I think it's really good. It's a way to out Mask of Restrict, pulling the rug, lots of stupid shit post board. Yeah, he runs over our guy, he pops Mask, but on our turn I can just flip Thunder King, pass. He can't get over it. He has Soul Exchange Gorz. He can Soul X into Gorz, but like that's fine. Like I don't really care. Like that's the only thing he could do that'd be annoying. He goes Soul Exchange, sack for swap, send sub, pass the turn. We pick up Book of Moon. Do I have 4 fairies? No, I only have the 3. I should have held that Herald. Man, that was so fucking stupid. A Black Rose into Christia here would be so fucking crazy, but yeah, I just special Cyber Dragon, contact into Chimera Tech, set my Honest, set my Book and pass, because if the Honest dies, then I have 4 for Christia, and I can take over from there. He picks up another Substoad, bounces a Swap Frog, and passes. The games where I do well against this deck are the games where he has like 17 different frog monsters and he just doesn't have the payoffs. Either that or we've managed to survive the like terraformings and the soul exchanges, because this is how we die right here. These are the cards that kill us. We pick up Card Trooper, which is really good. I flip Honest, I use the effect to bounce, I set Card Trooper, I pass the turn. He picks up Light and Darkness Dragon, which is pretty fucking good for us because he gets tempted to summon it, more or less. So he summons it. He attacks over my bro. I take 800, and I'm like, thank God. Because, yeah, I have a million ways to play through this card. I have, like, just a bajillion million ways to play through it. I think I just set Honest and pass. No, I summon it. Yeah, I summon it, I activate, he books my guy, and I'm like, that's so good for me, because now the book's gone. It's just really good for me. Like, this whole situation was, like, so good for me. He went for the Light and Darkness. He sacked, like, pieces, critical pieces to his lock. And then, he was basically forced to do it because he has less cards in deck than me. So he's going to deck out if he doesn't, you know? And eventually we're going to be able to find a way to natty Christia, like we'll end phase discard a fairy. So Drago favors us, basically, in these situations. And he has to act. So, give me 1 second. I got to cough again. Jesus Christ, what a fucking miserable cold. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, you guys get the idea. We lose the fairy in play, but then we win. So, yeah, you go sack for Gorz, attack the Honest, attack the set guy. Negate, he sets back row, pass the turn. We draw Soul Release, fucking useless ass card. Special Cyber Dragon, special Christia, effect to add back. He chains enemy controller, I chain Book because I've got another Christia. So Light and Darkness is chain link 1, enemy controller is chain link 2, and Book of Moon is chain link 3. So Book of Moon, Christia is chain link 1, Light and Darkness is chain link 2, Enemy controller is chain link 3, and Book was chain link 4. My bad. So the way the chain works is Book will put it face down. Enemy controller will resolve without effect because my dude is face down. And then Christia's effect will get negated by Light and Darkness Dragon. And then we can special summon the other Christia because we still have 4. So we just special the other Christia, and that's all she wrote. Yeah, so that was match 2. So we're currently 1-1 in matches. And I feel like I'm starting to get a little bit better of an idea versus his deck. This game, I try a different sideboard plan. I leave in my return. So in the last few games, I was like bringing in the Shadow Mirror because my game plan was like, oh, Shadow Mirror shuts off Caius and Light and Darkness Dragon. But I saw how like kind of not great Light and Darkness Dragon was in that last game. So I was like, maybe I can get away with return this game. Who knows? We'll see. So yeah, he draws, he sets monster passes. We draw, we summon Warrior Lady, we trade with this guy. We take 500, we banish both, pass the turn. He summons swap, sends Treeborn, attacks for 1,000. You know, standard shit. We drop Gores. So now we just have initiative, which is great. I forget what we do here. I think we go D-Elk because we have return. Yeah, I go D-Elk because like I want to get my return fat, you know? I mill a Freed and I'm like, thank God. Now this return is crazy. He has Battle Fader, which does suck for us, but we still have return. So like we have a big game next turn. He goes for some crazy shit this turn. I think it's just dupe blocks us. But again, the frog stuff is like he's initiating a game state by doing this, which I'm okay with. Like I don't really give a shit about like waiting with fairies. Like I'll wait forever until I have infinite cards and then I go Roghnach Christia. Like I don't care because eventually I have the end game. Eventually I have Summon Herald, Roghnach Christia, and you lose. So him establishing dupe block, it's just putting him in a position where he's down cards and he needs to activate shit. So yeah, he goes terraforming. He finds Mausoleum. He goes ahead and uses some shit, some field spells. Brings out Ancient Gear Boy. Attacks some of our guys. We take 300. He attacks this guy. And we actually let this die. And the reason we let it die is because I want to grab back Freed here. Next turn, I want to go, or I want to use the Honest here to defend my token from the Swap Frog. Pop his Swap Frog, so he can't like infinitely use a Monarch versus me or whatever. Get 2 lights in grave. And then I can go Freed, banish, pop one of the Ancient Gears, and then have a fat return. So this was one of those ones where it's like, use your Honest to protect the token instead of the D-Alk. Even though the token is worse than the D-Alk, positionally it gets you a grave setup, which you need in order to activate your entire hand, basically. So yeah, we use Honest. He takes 1,000. We go ahead and draw. His Swap Frog doesn't die, of course, because of the Substitute. We go Freed, summon, pop his guy, switch to defense, pass the turn. He sacks for Caius, so he does have the swap infinite shit, but we have Herald plus this shit backing us up. He attacks over this, which is, it's gonna happen some percentage of games. This turn we pick up Heavy Storm. Game 1 we just stay drawing our bricks, but you know what, there's like 4 or 5 in game 1, so it just happens. We return, bring back some boys. We go ahead and D-Alk activate, Honest bounce, Warrior Lady trade with the Dupe Frog, banish both, token run over the Swap Frog, D-Alk attack over the Ancient Gear with Honest, and then we have a normal summon so we can set Raikou and pass. He goes for Swap Frog, trade with the token, which I'm pretty happy with. We pick up Herald. We could Herald pop his field spell, but that gives him access to Treeborn, which turns on too much of his deck. So I'm just like, we're not going to do that shit. He sets a monster. We pick up Honest. I basically have to pop his guy because, like I said, I don't want his deck to be turned on. I don't want him to have tribute fodder. We attack for 1,300 here, bounce the Honest. We're pretty safe. Now this is the Mausoleum, and he does have a Light and Darkness Dragon in hand. I think he misplays this game like pretty hard, if I remember correctly, because he has Light and Darknesses, he has the Mausoleum. All he needs to do is flip that shit and summon the shit, and he wins. Like, he runs over Raikou, and we die. Like, we just don't have an out. So, yeah, he missed lethal this game for sure. He just passes. We draw Herald of Orange. Attack for 13. And now we're for sure safe. So, he missed lethal, because now we have Herald to negate the lad. He draws another Gores, but all this shit is dead now. Summon Thunder King, attack with both. I even get greedy here and herald the Battle Fader. I didn't need to do this, really. I could have just heralded his next summon if it was Caius or some shit. He picks up a 3rd lad, but at this point, he can't use the Mausoleum. He must have forgot Mausoleum was set at some point because there were a couple turns he could have at least gone for it or at least tried to go for it. So, yeah. It's hard. It's hard, man, because these games are long. They're really long and they're really grindy, and it's like, it's just hard, you know? It's hard to play tight every single time, but that's why we got to do them in high volume so you can prepare for the big tournaments. Soul Release again in my hand, doing fuck all, but we got Thunder King, so we out here. He goes ahead, sets monster. We summon Thunder King attack because just want to get it face up. Soul release that bitch. Set 2, pass the turn. He goes brain control. I make a game losing error. I should have solemned that. That was just a fucking mistake. Because if he has terraforming, now I lose. And there's a good shot. He just has terraforming field spell, which he does. So I'm dumb as shit. He goes second terraforming, which I have to solemn. Now, yeah, I'm fucking bad. I should have solemned the brain control. Save the book for the whatever the fuck else. Because I have Herald to stop. His normal summon. Like, I don't need Solemn to stop his normal summon because I have Herald for it. So what I should have done was Solemn the brain, keep my Thunder King face up, protect myself from terraforming that way, and then protect myself from the normal summon with Herald of Orange Light, and then I win this game. So, huge player, and like I was saying, it's just fucking tough, man. It's fucking hard. Like, these matches are fucking grueling. I could go Goyo Guardian attack over his dude, but if he has Treacherous or Enemy Controller, I just fucking lose, so I can't go for it, and those are the only back rows he plays besides Book. All of his back rows basically beat us here, so yeah, he goes Substitute attack this, basically confirming his back row's Enemy Controller, but there's like, I think I make another game losing error in the next turn, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I do. So I draw Cyber Dragon, so what I should have done was Tribute set Cyber Dragon and go Chimera Tech, because I know he has fucking Enemy Controller, right? But at least it forces this shit. I mean, we lose anyway, because next turn he just goes sack the dupe for Mobius, and then, no, we don't lose, actually. Oh, yeah, Mobius pop Gear Town his game. But I guess if he goes for the pop, we have Herald. No, I definitely misplayed. I should have Chimera Tech fused away. That was an L on my part. But here he can just go through whatever motions he wants to go through. And then, yeah, again, like I said, these are the matches we lose. He has triple terraforming. He has brain control. That's how we lost this game. We didn't lose this game because of any frog bullshit. We lost it because of these cards. These cards are fucking crazy. Terraforming's a bloody god card in Edison format. I don't know how we are sleeping on this so much. But yeah, I also lost this game because I misplayed 3 times, which is the Fairy Classic, the worst. He does all this to play around Gores, but yeah, we go to game 3. I definitely talked through the misplay here in the chat, but yeah, no, I definitely fucked that up. This game, I open up with some sauce. You know, I got Shining Angel, I got Herald, I got Honest. I got it fucking all, dude. I start off with set Honest, set Compulsory, because, like, next turn I can flip Honest, bounce it, go brazy, you know. Like, if he goes for, like, Gadgetron, I want to bounce that shit, you know. And if he goes for, I don't know, fucking Soul Exchange, I'll just Compulse it anyway. So it doesn't really matter what I play here. I just figured I'd play Honest, because if he summons Swap Frog and attacks, I'd rather him take the 900 than us get a Shining Angel search. So, yeah. He goes set, pass. I flip the Honest. I bounce to play around Tretch. I summon DD Warrior Lady, and then I go for the Banish, and that just goes through. So, yeah, good shit. Use DD Warrior Lady, keep these stupid little guys clear. He passes the turn. Now I summon Shining Angel, attack for 14. I believe I said the book too. Yeah, I'm just like, fuck it. You have Heavy Storm, you have to wipe your own back row. Unless it is Heavy Storm. So we can pulse our guy. But we are dead to triple terraforming, which is, again, how we lose this matchup. He goes Substitute. I think I negate it. Yeah, I do. I pitch our extra Christia. So now we have 2 fairies in the grave. I pick up Freed, which is great. We can attack into Gores with Freed. And save our Angel to set up for our Christia. It's like kind of a combo later on. And then pass the turn. He goes Terraforming into Mausoleum. He goes attack over my guy with Big Guy. But now, it is very unlucky for him because we have bring out Christia off of his own Mausoleum. Use Honest to run over his Light and Darkness Dragon. So he blows up and he can't special summon back his Substitute. So yeah, that's a dual puzzle right there. And we win the match because we does shoot him. So those were the first 3 matches. I went 2-1. I misplayed a shit fuck ton. My sideboard was not super tight, but we managed to get there. Even though the games we lost, they were kind of brutal. And I think that's what this deck kind of does to people. The Terraforming deck is it's just a brutal killer. It's a brutal killer. All right, let's get into the next matches. I got like 7 million of them for you guys. So yeah, you're going to be eating today. You're going to be watching this VOD for like 6 days. Shit, fucking, oh my God. It might even take like 18 years to upload. This session goes worse, if I remember correctly. So this is what I was talking about. You open Soul, you open multiple Recruiter, multiple Christia. Your deck just looks like shit, man. I honestly think you should play like 2 Christia, 4 Recruiter. I think that's like the best. Anyway, we take some of his shit. He goes Soul Exchange, sack for the guy in defense position. We see terraforming, which is scary as shit, because any more of that, and we just, like, get owned. We draw another fucking battle recruiter, which is like, bruh. So I just crash it to turn on my soul and get his Dark Dust out of here. And, of course, he rips fucking terraforming. So, yeah, we lose, which is awesome. It's just really, really rough. Take 3K, and then he mausoleums, take another 3K. Oh, no, wait, this isn't... We don't actually lose this one. We don't lose this one, and the reason is because he disconnects. So, we don't actually get to finish this one out. This one would have been interesting. I think we would have lost, but the way it works is basically he has to go Gadgetron attack, we summon a guy, and then we actually have to preemptively book our own guy, which is weird to play around Econ. So, like, he goes Gadgetron attack our guy, we get DD Warrior Lady, and then we have to book our own DD Warrior Lady. Next turn, we special summon Christia, but... Or, sorry, not book our own DD Warrior, book our own Shining Angel. And then off the next Shining Angel, I think we have to get... I don't remember what we have to get. I think it's Herald. I'm not really sure. I don't remember exactly what my game plan was here, but I had to top deck because he had this enemy controller. But I had at least another turn to top deck, so this one would have been interesting. Didn't get a chance to do it because his internet went out. Let's just go in and get into the next sessions. I forgot how many of these. I have like 8 tabs open of our sessions, so you guys, like I said, you're eating today. This session is the one that goes poorly. This session is the one that goes really bad. So we open double shitty card in this matchup. I summon Nova. I attack for 14. He goes Drago. He has Battle Fader. I'm just like, whatever. I'll just Herald whatever he summons off Battle Fader. He has Heavy Storm for our Space Typhoon. I'm like, all right, here's Caius. We got to Herald it. And I have to pitch Shining Angel. He chains enemy controller. And I'm like, that's cool, I guess. But then he has fucking triple fucking terraforming. And we lose. So I actually just like, oh my god, it's so mauled, dude. This is insane. Like, this is, you could put this in any fucking deck. You could put 3 Terraforming, 3 Gear Town, 2 Gadget Dragon, triple Lad in any deck, and it's just like, you just randomly kill people out of nowhere. Yeah, fucking stupid. I drew like 18 Recruiters. I drew all my dead cards, and he had Heavy Storm plus Steel Spell plus like the OTK turn 1. And I'm just like, bruh. The absolute nut draw. 0 frog cards, by the way. I'm supposed to be testing for the frog matchup, Roghnach. What the fuck, man? No, I'm kidding here. Yeah, no, we're just fucking dead. So, yeah, we switch this guy, set, pass. But it's Jover, because he ripped the Caius, so he's going to attack. We're going to book this guy in the battle phase, but, yeah, we're just dead here, because we drew Heavy Storm, Space Typhoon, Double Recruiter, dead Christia in hand. Game 2, I think, goes a little bit better for us, because we have the stuff that wins this matchup, or wins the frog matchup, which is... fucking tempo cards and Herald of Orange Light and Gores and shit and threats. So we have pressure, we have tempo cards. That's how you beat frogs. With T-set, same shit as before. You set the compulsory, play around the soul exchange. He goes Gear Town, I'm just like, fuck yeah. He summons the Gear Beast, I'm like, fuck no. I don't want to see that shit. Get that shit out of here. Gear Beast is terrifying. It beats the fuck out of our deck, but thankfully we have Bottomless for it next turn. We draw Raikou, which, again, would have got owned by the Gear Beast, but thankfully we have the Bottomless. So I'm going to go set Bottomless, set Raikou. I just want to make sure that if he sets a 2000 Defender this turn, I have the Tempo Initiative. Or if he pops his own Gear Town, and then I'll have the Raikou to pop his monster. So yeah, we Bottomless the Gear Beast. We summon Warrior Lady. We go for some big attacks here, 2900, but he has Battle Fader. We go ahead and Herald of Orange Light, because I'm just like, fuck that shit. I don't want to deal with no Caius. Pass the turn. He takes 29. I think he just draws and passes. Oh, he soul exchanges into Caius. That one was tough. This one was tough. He summons his monsters, and I'm like, fuck me. But I do have Gores, so I'm big chillin'. I crash into the Ancient Gear Dragon, banish both. Like I said, I'm supposed to be playing versus fucking frogs, bro. I'm not even playing versus the frog deck. I'm playing versus Ancient Gears. Ancient Gears is so scary because it just kills you. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you're playing. Ancient Gears is fucking terrifying. Anyway, he has Black Garden, which fucks up my Gores vibes. So I drop Gores. I'm like, bruh. Yeah, attacks. I drop the Gores. He runs over the token. He gets 2 tokens for the Black Garden. Gores' defense is still chilling. We set Dust Shoot here. Pass. He attacks into this. Pops our Dust Shoot. And then, yeah, takes our guy and then just deals a shitload of damage. It was probably a misplay on my part to set the Dust Shoot because I forgot about the Ancient Gear Engineer. But this is my first time facing this card for real. Outside of the time he hit my Mask of Restrict, so I'm like, all right, he got me. And I was like, when you draw 8 Gear Towns every game, it feels impossible. It's fucking true, dude. He drew fucking Heavy Storm, triple Gear Town the first game, and then he drew fucking double Gear Town every single game. And I'm just like, bruh, that shit kills you. That shit is scary as fuck. He could honestly cut the frogs from his deck and just play literally anything else, and I would still be losing to the same fucking shit. Anyway, this is match 2. Match 2 starts off with Swap Frog. I don't herald this because, like I said, I don't give a shit about the frogs, bro. I only care about the other shit. I pick up Christie. I'm like, all right, I got Shining Angel. I got a Dream. Hit for 14. Nopers. He's got Gores. I got to herald that. Unfortunate, but we're stuck here. So, yeah. Brings out the Treeborn. Goes to enemy controller. I chain Book. He brings it out. He has Swap Frog send. He actually attacks here, which is fucking psychopath behavior. I don't know why you'd ever attack there. You're just loading up my grave for me. We go ahead and grab another Shining Angel. Passes the turn. We pick up fucking Space Typhoon game 1, of course. Always drawing our bricks. Stay drawing them. Attack the Frog. Attack for 14. Bounce the Honest. I think I set the Typhoon to deal with the Gear Town shit. Sacks for Caius. And I'm just like, bruz. We're getting owned. We take 24. Pick up Honest. Thankfully, I can Honest plus Christia because he set up my grave for me. Thank you, Roghnach. You're such a nice guy. Add back the Herald. Bounce the Honest. Pass the turn. He goes Terraforming, Mausoleum, pays 2k, we chain Typhoon. The one time Typhoon actually does something in this fucking matchup. And then he has Brain Control 2. I'm like, bruh, relax, stop having it all. He attacks me for 38, bounces the Christia, and I miss lethal because I'm a fucking moron. So yeah, if I just summon Herald of Orange Light and attack Swap Frog, that doesn't work, does it, with Honest? How much is that? No, it doesn't work. It's only 300. But then we can special Christia, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, that was a choke. Yeah, I choke here. I basically should have gone Herald, attack, drop Honest. He takes 300. We special Christia, and we add back the Honest, and we win. But I didn't do that because I was so tilted that he opens fucking Terraforming Brain Control every single fucking game. But it's cool. It's cool. You know, I mess up, and then he kills me because I'm a noob. I'm a scrub and a noob. And he says, was thinking the Honest over the orange 300 over swap. And I was like, and then I said, does that win? He said, think so. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it does. And I was like, I said, I'm listening to a podcast. Got to switch it off because I need to focus. I was listening to the Yard podcast. Shout out the Yard. Those guys are funny as shit. But yeah, I had to switch it off because I was not focusing that much that game. I just was getting Terraforming done. And I was like, bruh. Anyway, I'm down a game. I open up fucking 18 Christias and Trag, but I'm like, this is all right. I can just set Ryko, set Mask. Probably a mistake, but I don't know. I flipped the Mask, I think, pretty early. I should have waited for him to Soul X, but I didn't want him to substitute. That would have been fucking annoying, so. Yeah, he just sets a card and passes. And here I make the dumbest play of the fucking century. I don't play around Treacherous. So I'm like, there's no way it's Treacherous, right? Like, what if it's a Dust Tornado or a Space Typhoon? I don't want to flip my Ryko. It's fucking Treacherous, of course. Fucking course, man. This hand is so reliant on me milling, too. I definitely should have flipped. That was so dumb. That was the dumbest play of, like, the fucking... I think this was the dumbest play of our entire session. It was so stupid. Pass the turn. He passes the turn. Honest poke. Pass the turn. Bounce my guy. Pass the turn. Draw compulsory. Honest poke. You know how it goes. He has a new back row. I'm like, alright, that's lit. He invades, discards his shit. I Typhoon his enemy controller because I'm going to have to discard anyway. Honest 1100, set compulse, pass. Draw Dust Tornado. The reason I left him in play is because I'm like, alright, next turn I can attack. If it's a big dude, I can drop Trag. And I choked this game because, yeah, I was messing it up, you know? I was supposed to drop Trag there, and the DB was lagging for like 15 minutes, and I forgot to drop my fucking Trag because it was lagging. I'm like, bro, this shit would never happen in real life. I would attack, I would drop my Trag, and I'd be fucking big chilling. I'd run over the stupid fucking Substitute. I wouldn't lose this dumbass shit. Oh my god. I'm getting mauled just watching this replay because of the lag. It was lagging so bad during all these games. Anyway, so we lose that match, mostly due to me being a fucking idiot, like that entire match, but he also played well. So yeah, we missed lethal game 1, and then I choked game 2, which is fucking awesome. I can't wait to play this deck in a major tournament and let that happen to me in real life. That's going to be so much fun to deal with the tilt in real life when I'm surrounded by 8 million people who want to talk to me also, which is going to be fucking great. I can't wait. I can't fucking wait. Yeah, this hand sucks balls. We have Heavy Storm. We have Herald, but like, what the fuck are we supposed to do if our Angel dies? Swap Frog, Sense Treeborn, whatevs. I Herald this because I'm just like, I don't want to deal with that shit this game. I just need to fucking attack him 8 million times and just hope it's good enough. I pass. I should have set the Ryko, but I was playing around Tretch. It is Tretch, so I'm a goat. I swap Frog, send Treeborn. I run it over, force the Tretch. I pick up fucking Christia, but we're still one fucking fairy short, so I just pass. I'm trying to set up Raikou attack, drop Honest, drop Christia, but you know, it's just tough out here. I chain book on this guy. I don't know why I fucking did this. There was really no reason to do it. Because Raikou doesn't fucking get over any of this anyway. I should just save my book. It was so fucking dumb, dude. Because next turn I have to set Raikou and just hope it lives anyway. And it fucking doesn't, obviously. What I should have done was just set Bottomless, not set the Raikou. But I get Caius and I fucking lose. So, yeah, that's a really awesome situation that we've gotten ourselves into here. Soul of Purity and Light, god damn it. Drawing in all the shit I want to side out. He goes Dark Dust, pop his own guys, and I'm like, wait, I have a chance. I have a fucking chance now because he has no board, and he's going to have to discard end phase, and he blew up his own Duplock. I'm like, wait, I have a fucking chance. I'll just go Honest Attack, 1100, set Solemn Judgment. Don't have Storm plus Caius, please, one time. He goes Caius, I Solemn it. I'm like, all right, maybe we're out here. I draw fucking Typhoon. Bro, I just draw all the cards that are bad against Frogs in the top 10 cards every single fucking game. I go for Soul. And I double sack for Christia because I'm like, well, maybe I can make something happen here. He sets 8 million. I go for Heavy Storm. He chains enemy controller to survive a turn. I set Dust Shoot. I Dust Shoot him. And I actually win that game, which is fucking crazy because I drew so bad. But, you know, sometimes Christia is just that dude. Sometimes opponent can't play through Christia. So we made it work. Game 2, we're going second. I pick up Herald. I pick up Typhoon. I started siding this shit out about halfway through these sessions because... spoiler alert, it's fucking dog shit bad. I Herald his shit. I set 2, I pass. He goes Soul Exchange. I'm like, bruh, Typhoon, my guy. Okay. Substitute activate. Bring out a bunch of guys. And I'm like, whatever. And then I draw Royal Oppression the turn after. I'm like, that's fucking lovely. Set that shit. Substitute activate. But he activates his Substitute again. I'm like, all right. At least I get my +1 here. He passes the turn. I draw Thunder King. I summon it. I die to this Caius, I think. I think I died to this under my own oppression. Yeah, I just didn't draw another dude, which kind of sucks. I didn't really draw any dudes this game. The games where you for sure lose with fairies are the games you don't draw any dudes. Because, like, compulsory and shit, your traps, they only buy you so much time, you know? And, yeah, you brick on Christia. You don't draw any dudes. That's how you lose. Now, here, if I go Card Trooper, mill 2 fairies, I'm actually winning. Which is fucking crazy because I can Typhoon my own oppression. Special Christia. Add back a fairy. Christia attack over Dewfrog. Trooper, crash into Caius, draw a new card. And then hopefully draw a fairy so I have Herald plus fairy. But as it turns out, actually we would have won. Straight up looking at his hand. Yeah, we would have won. We didn't mill 2 fairies because I'm never lucky, dude. I mill 1 and I said fuck this game. Yeah, so that's game 2. Going into game 3. Surprisingly won game 1. I don't fucking know how. Game 1 is usually the hard one. I tried bringing in Shadow Mirror for this game because I was like, maybe Shadow Mirror is good against Caius because that card's annoying. Maybe it's good against Lad because that card's annoying. I don't know. I'm going to try it here. And then, of course, I draw it with Gores. I draw Herald with no fairy. And I'm just like, bro, fucking shoot me. Draw a Swap Frog. Send the Treeborn Frog. Tax the DD Warrior Lady. Take 600. Switch the DD Warrior Lady. We picked up a Herald target, so I'm like living right now. And here I fuck up. I set my Shadow Mirror, but I think it's fine. Because if he has Caius, like, Shadow Mirror is really good. He does have Caius, and we do have Shadow Mirror, and he does have Typhoon, and then we do have Compulsory, and then he does play into Gores after he terraformings for Black Garden. And I'm like, fuck, dude. I forgot about Black Garden, dude. Black Garden makes my Gores so bad. So we take 5,400, which is really bad. Dude, this Gear Town shit is so good. Every time he hits me with it, I'm just like, oh my god, I fucking lose. And then he has a back row to top it all off. He gets 2 tokens as well. Extra Tribute Fodder, even though his Treeborn is locked. We pick up Heralds. The Heralds are chain blocked by Black Garden, which is lovely. I could have heralded the Caius instead of just like Shadow Mirroring it, and I would have been fine, but... you know, you live and you learn, and now my Herald's pretty dead, so... I just have to summon Shining Angel, crash into the token, take 100, go get myself an Honest, because... I want to. I crash one more time. I try to set up a couple fairies in my grave. I don't really want to draw those Shining Angels either. So, I try to bounce, but he chains book. Or he doesn't chain book. He books it before I go to main phase 2. If you chain book, it'll still get... I think it stays. I'm not sure, though. I think it stays if you chain book. Cause either way, it's the same. I set book, and I'm like, fuck me. But maybe I can make something happen. Here I actually make a critical error. I think I book his Caius and attack over it. Which is a pretty big mistake. I shouldn't have done that. I should have let my Honest die, but it was a pretty big mistake. I draw Torrential, which is great. Hopefully we get to use that. Attack over the Caius, activate, bounce it, set the DD Warrior Lady, set my back row, but he gets Dust Tornadoed. Motherfucker plays Dust Tornado with Treacherous Trap Hole in his deck. Oh my god, it's so tilting. Of course he never draws the Treacherous here. Of course he draws something good like Light and Darkness. Every single time. Anyway, he summons Swap Frog, and then we get a token. And this is a shitload of damage. We're going to drop to 200 here. He attacks over the token. We take 22. And then Black Garden, bring back Caius, bounce the Caius to threaten lethal damage. So we're pretty much fucked. I go token attack. DD Warrior Lady attack with Honest. I have Herald for the Caius, but after that we're just sitting at 200 and he has too many cards, you know. So we have Herald for this. We draw DD Warrior Lady. We go for game, but he has Fader. And then he can sack for Lad and we lose. So that was a close one. That was actually a really close one. I think the Black Garden did a lot of work for him. Yeah, that was definitely MVP for him that game. And yeah, so that was match, I think, 5 or some shit. I think we're 3-2 in his favor. This game I opened Mind Control Royal Decree. No monsters. I draw Card Trooper, which is really good. Combos with the Torrential. I mill 3. I hit 2 fairies, which is nice. So if I ever find another Christia, I'm big living. Or if I find Freed, I'm big living. I set 3, because why the fuck not? Brain Control. I solemn it. Motherfucker opens Brain Control like it's going out of style. It says Gear Tone. Torrential Tribute. I get to draw a card, which is nice, but yeah, cards are not that great. I did find Free, which is good. We can attack with that, but this shit here is terrifying. Like, I have no out. I have no out to this Gear Town. I just have a stupid Decree. I have a Mind Control. Herald does fuck all versus this. Like, Free can pop his guy, but there's no guy to pop. I can't really afford to take, 3,000. I have to get aggressive here. He has a Battle Fader. I have to hope he goes for, like, a Kai's or something. He does. We have Herald for this, but it don't even fucking matter because he has Enemy Controller. And then he has another fucking Terraforming. So he opens Triple Gear Town every game, dude. It's crazy. Shit's nuts. Yeah, and then we just die here. I was like, yeah. He says, didn't notice Decree all the game once. Yeah, it's because I wasn't, I said I've drawn it more than Treasure. I think I hadn't. I think I was lying. But sometimes you just gotta bitch and just be like, yeah, no, I never draw Torrential, but I think I drew Torrential like every game I've won so far, like a large percentage of them, so whatevs. Yeah, this game, we draw a lot better, and we're going first. You just start off with Raikou, and I lose every 50-50 this game. I should have started off with Trooper instead of Raikou. I should have saved the Raikou for after he established something. I should have saved the Book of Moon. I should have set the return instead, so I could return next turn. DD Warrior Lady return that shit to answer established board. He goes set Heavy Storm. We just lose like every fucking 50-50 in the world. And he has Caius and then just attacks us for 24. And yeah, sets back row. We pick up Alchemist, and I really can't deal with this very effectively. I have to like DD Warrior Lady attack it. We've taken 1 million damage. We have no fairies in our graveyard. We have return set, which maybe can double sack for Christia if we get the initiative, but we don't because he has, spoiler alert, Terraforming. So yeah, he goes Terraforming, pay 2,000, summon out Light and Darkness, I believe. And we have to chain return to this activation because if he has Light and Darkness Dragon, we will lose the game. So I just need to bring these out to protect my life total. I do. He summons Light and Darkness. He makes a really cool play here where he soul exchanges, Light and Darkness, Chainlink 2, Treacherous Trap Hole, Chainlink 3 to put us to 50 life points. The reason I chain return was so that we could keep our life points above 2,000. So I could use his Mausoleum to summon my Christia to run over his Light and Darkness Dragon to stabilize. But he makes a really good play here to put us below 2,000. Which is really smart. This is why I like testing with Roghnach, because he's fucking good. Like, it's just like, that's it. I mean, there's not much to it. It's just like, it's nice to test for someone who knows what the fuck they're doing. And at this point in the game, he rips another Light and Darkness, and I'm just like, bruh, draw a frog card, please. Please draw a fucking frog card so I can play the game. Anyway, yeah, so we win that one. That was brutal. I lost a lot of 50-50s that one. I think I am 3-2, 5-0, 6. I don't fucking remember the match count. Someone in the comments will recognize it. But yeah. And I was like, yeah, I don't draw the games unless he I don't win the games unless he draws the frogs. The Gear Town stuff with lads is fucking crazy. It's got me thinking about decks, man. It's got me thinking about like what's gonna be really good for the metagame. And then also I'm thinking like I gotta switch up my deck. Like the Royal Decree's mid, Mind Control's mid. I gotta switch those cards up. So I think after this match I switch up the deck list. I could be wrong. Anyway, he goes Substone to swap, send the Treeborn, pass, and we draw Mind Control, and I'm like, yeah, I gotta cut this card. It's just not doing it for me. He brings out Treeborn, he's got Caius, I'm like, fuck, but at least I have Trag, I guess, but then he has Pitch Swap, so he can bounce, so he can play around the Trag. He bounces his guy, he summons dupe, and I'm like, all right, well, at least I have Brain Christia. Maybe I can make something happen. Brain the dupe, double tribute for Christia, and then attack over the Swap Frog. Hopefully he doesn't have one of his, like, one main deck outs to this shit. So he draws. He does. He has, actually has 3 main deck outs, I guess. He has Soul Exchange plus Brain Control. So he has 3 Soul Exchange, 1 Brain Control, and he just has 1, which, that works, you know. Here I Honest attack over because I'm pretty sure it's Caius. Bounce the Honest, pass the turn. He brings back Treeborn. He goes ahead and summons Subsitoad, establishes some sort of like fucking shit going on. But because he drew the dupes earlier, he can't actually go for the dupe lock, which is lovely, beautiful for us. Very happy game. We draw, I think, Solemn, which is okay. We can go Honest attack over the Subsitoad. I'm surprised he didn't Swap Frog bounce the Subsitoad because I think that would have been a much better play. Yeah, he's going to lose his Swap Frog, but then he can set Subsitoad next turn, which buys him infinite time. We set Solemn, pass the turn, he brings out Treeborn, enemy controller. We let this happen. He goes Heavy Storm, and I lose. So, yeah, kind of tough. The Gear Town stuff's fucking crazy. Going into game 2, I think at this point I was like, I just need to change my deck. I was like, I don't think I can main deck Mind Control and Decree because they do nothing versus frogs. Anyway, I start off with Nova Summoner Compulsory, pass the turn. This is like one of my favorite openings versus him specifically. I don't know if it's great versus other frog decks, but versus him specifically, it's pretty fucking good. Pick up Thundercat. I'm like, thank base God. I set the Raikou. I don't want to attack into Gorz just yet. We don't have a great way of dealing with it just yet. So, yeah, he sets. Now I can go for the attack into Gorz play. Raikou pop the back row. Summon Freed. This plays into Gorz pretty nicely. 200. He drops Fader. He has his one of Dark Dust Spirit, which gets us pretty good here, but I can bounce my Nova Summoner. And so my Herald's going to be live. He can attack me directly, but I'm going to be able to drop Trag, which is really nice. So, like, position's not bad. He doesn't have Tribute Fodder. We have Gorz. We have some good shit. I go ahead and attack for 3,000. He drops Gorz, and I think I Herald it. Yeah, I Herald it because I don't want him to dust me. So I summon Thunder King. I set Bottomless because I want to be able to make sure I can Bottomless a Gear Dragon if it comes out, and that's what happens. He specials Gear Dragon from the hand, but thank goodness we have Bottomless. And he natty drew, he natty drew these 2 cards, which is fucking crazy. He didn't have Terraforming or anything, which is nuts. But yeah, he goes for the 2,000 pay, summon the Dark Dust, but because we are a sacker and a lucker and a noob, we drew Gorz, and we deserve this win, basically. So yeah, Gorz, Trag, really strong cards, especially in this type of matchup where you're just like trying to out-tempo them and deal a shitload of damage. That's exactly what went down this game, and any 2 of those monsters is lethal, so we're able to win game 2. Game 3, we open up with some nice ones. We have Brain Control. We have some good shit here. I go DD Warrior Lady attack, and he has Gorz, so I'm like, fuck me. But we got 1,500 in. Maybe we can get the rest in with Brain Control on his Sidra. There's a chance. It's not a great chance, but there's a chance. He goes Soul X, sack my guy, summon Light and Darkness, and I'm like, well, that's tough. But at least I can special Sidra, normal Honest, force the Light and Darkness to die, attack over the token, attack over the Light and Darkness. He's going to be able to bring back that Gorz, but we have Honest to trade with that. The issue is we're going to be spending the Honest to not deal that much damage. I think 2,100 is probably about as good as it's going to get. I just wish that we would have gotten a chance to Brain Control the scores before anything crazy happens. Anyway, he goes Gear Town, summon Ancient Gear Engineer. We go Bottomless, and then he actually has Book of Moon to protect it. His one of Book of Moon. You'll see in his deck tech, he has 1 Book of Moon. He could have had an enemy controller there too, but we would have had Book for that. But the 1 Book of Moon gets us pretty good here. Because now he's able to contact with the Cyber Dragon into our boy Chimera Tech. He attacks. I book this here because I want to essentially kill this. I don't want to book Gorz, even though it's more damage, just because then we have to deal with 2 threats instead of 1. He attacks for 27. On our turn, we summon the Alchemist. We banish. We miss. No, we hit. We hit Nova Summoner. Hell yeah. Attack over that. We drew Torrential. I'm like, fuck, maybe there's a chance this game we win. Maybe there's a chance. And then he attacks, I think. No, he goes Heavy Storm, and I'm just like, bruh. And he brings out Ancient Gear Gajiltron Dragon. I'm like, oh my god, this is so tilting. Because as you can see, he's going to attack. I'm going to drop Honest. He's going to drop to 4,900. And I'm going to have 4,800 points of damage. So I'm going to be short by 100, which is so unlucky, dude. It's not unlucky. It's just the way things shape up sometimes. If I drew a monster here, I could summon it. I could Brain. I could go for game. Now, he does have the Battle Fader, but it would have forced the Battle Fader. Instead, I draw a fucking Book of Moon, and I just, like, lose all my initiative. And I switch. There's not much to do here. He draws a monster to tribute, the Subsitoad. And now we're never getting that extra points of damage in with this Brain Control. And we're nowhere near Christia, so we're pretty much donezo for this one. We kind of got cooked this game. He had a lot of powerful spells. And as you notice, up until this point in the fucking game, 0 frogs. Like I said, that's not the shit we lose to. So after these matches, I'm like, okay, I gotta mix it up because like the frog shit, I don't care about that shit. Like I'll ignore dupe frog all day. Like I don't give a shit about that. It's these cards that I care about, you know. So I gotta shift my game plan a little bit. I gotta shift my deck a little bit. Here I go brain control because I'm pretty much forced to do all this. I have to spend all my cards, run over his guys, just because the brain's not getting any better than this. He did have Battle Fader. He searches Swap Frog, and I think that's game. He has to add it back because he can't search under Thunder King because he has brain control off the top, which is pretty good. So I think I changed the list. Yeah, I changed the list here. I said I need to change the list. Decree and Minecon are not cutting it. And he says, good to know. I'm like, yeah, I got to switch them up. So for the next matches, I switch up the deck, and I go towards whatever the fuck I had it as. This shit. I switch it up to this, which is Call of the Haunted plus Compulsory. I think Call of the Haunted kind of plays with my game plan where it's like, Call of the Haunted is like, how do I say it? It's like, I want to tempo him, basically. I want to out-tempo him. And so, like, giving myself more speed with Call of the Haunted is exactly what I want, and giving myself that main deck Compulsory is really good. And I think that because I've been siding in Compulsory in every matchup, I kind of just want it in the main. Like, it's not necessarily that it's just good against his deck in particular, but I think it's just a card that I know Pro Storm has told me he's maining one. I know a couple other players are like, yeah, you got to main one Compulse right now. It's just too good not to. And I'm like, you know what? These guys are fucking spitting. I'm going to main that one Compulse, and then I'm going to main that Call of the Hunt. I'm going to say fuck it with Decree. I'll play through the back row with Book of Moons and call. I don't need to negate it. It's too double-edged for me. So yeah, this game, he starts off with set Treeborn, passes it back. We have the new setup, the new configuration, the new squad in our deck. We mill 3. You see that Call of the Haunted getting milled. Effective. Dust Shoot gets flipped here. We see his hand. He has a fuck ton of scary shit, but all of it loses to Torrential, so that's good. He goes enemy controller take. Mill 3. I don't know why he milled 3. His deck doesn't need to mill anything once Treeborn's already in the grave, and it's already in the grave. And I don't really know why he brought back the Treeborn anyway, because he's always sacking the card trooper here, and he doesn't want to expose it to DD Warrior Lady, so I think it was a bit of a mistake. Maybe he just wanted to turn on his Treacherous Travel. I think that's probably what it was. He sacks for Caius. We chain Torrential. We clear both, so it doesn't end up mattering anyway. We pick up Thunder King, which is great because we know he has Terraforming in his hand, so we summon this. We attack for 19. Great position for us. This is like basically best possible start. Card Trooper, Torrential, Dust Shoot is like, I open 3 limited bombs. I have a live Herald. I'm crushing it right now. Anyway, he brings back Treeborn, passes. I summon Alchemist. If I hit here, it makes his Treacherous really bad, but I don't hit because I'm never lucky. But we do have 2 Heralds now, which is good, so we can at least Herald his Gores here, which is nice. Which I do. I do Herald his Gores here because I don't want to deal with that shit. Here I miscalculate. He brain controls the Thunder King. I, for some reason, thought that I knew his whole hand, but I didn't. He ends up having Substitute here, which is good. It's a conversion for his brain control. And then he sacks all his guys, passes the turn. We pick up Trag, and we're just in a bad spot now. We want to hit a monster just so that, like, if he gets stretched, we're chilling. Pass the turn. Here he brings back Treeborn, brings out Swap Frogs, that sets. We draw Christia, and I'm like, huh. That's pretty good. What can I do here? I go activate Dimensional Alchemist. Normal summon Freed. Pass priority. He says, okay. I activate Freed. I banish Thunder King and DD Warrior Lady. I target my own Alchemist. Now he can chain Treacherous Trap Hole to pop both. We will miss our timing. But then he's out his Treacherous Trap Hole and we have a live Christia. And he knows it's coming. He knows it's coming because this is fairy number 4. Ladies and gentlemen, this is fairy number 4. This is one of the coolest plays with Freed. Popping your own D-Alch, adding something back, specialing Christia, adding back your D-Alch. It just gets your engine going. It's really, really nice. I've been thinking I might want to move towards more Rykos, more Freeds, and more Alchemists in the main just so I get this situation more often because I feel like this is when the deck is like really cooking, but that's just me personally. We add back the Thunder King because we know about that terraforming, and then this turn we just pass. I don't want to commit anything else into his Treacherous quite yet. I want to bait out everything and then drop Christia. So yeah, he picks up Soul Exchange, bounces swap, sets the swap, passes the turn, we pick up Thunder King. I'm going to just summon that pass. He draws enemy controller, he passes. We draw Compulsory, which is really nice. We can summon Thunder King, set Compulsory, pass. Now if he enemy controllers tries to take my Thunder King, I can just bounce it, which is really nice. Picks up another Battle Fader, so he's kind of like starving for cards right now. He doesn't really have any action, which is really good for us. Plus Thunder King is cutting off him from using that terraforming anyway. He'd have to act before going for anything. We pick up Book of Moon. I'm like, all right, that's really good. That can help protect us even further when we go for our big push turn. Basically, this is exactly what I was talking about earlier in the video. I mean, draw go fairies favors. or favors fairies. I mixed up my words there. Yeah, Drago favors fairies because eventually I'm going to hit Herald, I'm going to hit Christia, and I'm going to Brownic Christia you, and you're not going to win. That's just the way it goes. He passes a turn, we pick up Saw, I'm like, G. I get a little antsy here. I pulled the trigger, our special Christia, but I'm like, it forces his fucking Tretch now, and then I have Solemn, I have Compulsory, and I have Book to stop the big Gear Town turn, and his field is actually kind of locked. He can't really do that much into our board unless he spends a lot of like steal effects. So I go Christia, add back Herald of Orange. This is just so I can set up to go for that Brownic turn. Like I said, even though we didn't hit, we're not going to draw Herald because all three are in the grave, we can add it back with Christia. He's going to be forced to out the Christia to play, and then we will be able to make that Brownic. Either that, or we can Compulsory or Book our own Christia and then make the Brownic eventually. This is obviously after a lot of turns have passed and we've amassed a huge amount of cards. He goes end phase Treacherous, put the Christia and the Thunder King back, but I'm like, that's totally chill because I still have this Thunder King. I'm still locking that Terraforming. So he still needs to answer the Thunder King to even really play. He picks up another Terraforming, which is great. He goes Treeborn, come back. Enemy controller, take the Thunder King. Flip Swap Frog. Swap Frog effect to send Dupe Frog. Dupe Frog, add back Swap Frog. Bounce the Substitute with his Swap Frog. Pitch special Swap Frog. And here, I'm like, alright, if I Solemn this Swap Frog, I know he has at least one Terraforming. If he has other field spells, or let's say he's like locked, he can't really do anything, this could be his only way. Like, you don't pitch special swap here unless you're intending on bouncing the Thunder King. So I should Solemn this Swap Frog. Because if let's say he pitches specials to Swap Frog, then his board is like a little bit more locked up than he wants it to be if he's trying to go for an OTK. So the only reason you're really going for this big play is because you want to bounce the Thunder King in order to use multiple Terraformings. So this is a Galaxy Brain read, but I Solemn this Swap Frog here. Yeah. And then he did like quickly try to bounce it, but I think it was in the same second that I wanted to Solemn it. And then I said I can Solemn it, right? And he says, yeah. So yeah, that's why you would Solemn it there, is because he wouldn't pitch special summon the swap unless he was intending on bouncing the Ryo. He attacks. We just let this happen because, again, we don't want him to get the Terraforming value. We just let the free die. He attacks for 1,000. We take it. Main phase 2. Or we drop Trag because if he sacks Thunder King main phase 2, we're going to need to have a body in play to go for Brownic Christia. But, yeah, this is pretty much what happens. We go Solemn, Brownic, Special Christia, add back a card, compulse one of his monsters, and Brownic pitch bounce the other one and attack for game. So yeah, pretty straightforward stuff. A nice game 1 W. After adjusting the build, we had the main deck compulse. We had all the good stuff, none of the bad stuff, and yeah, it worked out really well. Thunder King attacks for 1900, drops scores. Kind of sucks because we have Honest, but yeah, I was still leaving in the Typhoon. I'm not sure if I would leave it in, but like I said, the Gear Town stuff is how we lose. He gets really unlucky here. He Typhoons blind and he hits a Compulsory, but again, this is why I like Compulsory so much. I think it's really good in this meta. I mean, it's chainable. It's fucking amazing. He goes Caius. We Solemn it. Easy 2 for 1. Costs us 4,000, but it kills the Gores and the Caius for 1 card. I'll take that any day of the week. End phase Typhoon. Does Tornado hitting the graveyard means we don't need to play around Tretch for the remainder of the game. Summon Honest, deal 3,000. He drops to 31. We set Mask of Restrict, which is going to stop him from trying to go for Soul Exchange or that sort of stuff. He tries the Terraforming, but I remind him, Thunder King, and that's it. Thunder King is just that dude. Thunder King's fucking disgusting, dude. This card's insane. Alright, next match. So we win, after adjusting the configuration, we win the first match, and I'm like, even though it was just the 1 compulsory, I'm pretty happy with the adjusted configuration. Game 1, we draw Typhoon, we draw a bunch of Shining Angels. Kind of sucks, but whatever. Pick up Return. Pretty dead hand, not going to lie. Attack for 1,400. I think we're like 3-3 or 3-4. I don't remember exactly the match count. If you guys are watching, you know the match count. Like, I don't need to tell you, but I don't remember it because it's been a majillion games. We set 2. He goes Field Spell. Set his Field Spell. And then here I chain Typhoon to the Gear Town activation. The reason you do this is to make the other Gear Town dead. It kills the Gear Town that's set here, or Mausoleum or whatever. And if it is a Gear Town, because Typhoon is Chain Link 2, it'll make that Gear Town miss timing. So I can't stop the first one, unfortunately. But I can stop the second one. He gets his Gear Gadget Dragon. He can take my guy if he wants to. He goes sack for Lad, and I'm just like, fuck me. My hand is just done. This card is insane if I don't have Honest. We draw Christia. I'm like, maybe I can get to 4 fairies. It's not realistic, though. I kept the Angel in hand. Part of the reason is if I have Herald, next turn I can... Or if I draw Herald, I can book, and then Herald pitch Shining Angel and pop his Lad. But then he'll be able to special summon back the Ancient Gear, so it's pretty bad for us. This was just a really good Lad from him. It just kind of like crushes us. And here, I want you guys to figure this out. I thought for like 5 minutes. I honestly couldn't figure it out. I think there's a play here that's good, but I'm just not sure what it is. I'm like legit not sure what it is. I ended up going with Alchemist, banish the top card, and then pass. Or not banish the top card, but activate pass. Force him to crash to eat his battle phase. And then I don't book his monster, but I probably should have. I didn't know I could, first off, but you can, apparently. Sorry guys, I had a cough. Apparently you can book this guy after it's summoned before it attacks, so I had an opportunity to book it there, I just wasn't able to. We take 3,000, which ends up changing the course of this game, and then he heavy storms my back row, which is like really unlucky, and we just draw too many recruiters this game. Like drawing 3 recruiters is really bad to begin with, but yeah, we don't have enough life total to really crash here. I would have been able to book this, but alas, here we are. Set, he has Caius, and that's that. Again, this is how we lose. The fucking Gear Town shit, the fucking Gear Dragon, the Caius. We're not losing when he has the frog shit. We draw Herald a turn too late, which sucks, because if we had it last turn, we would have been able to Christia him and win. So we basically just, I guess we would have had to pitch our Christia, never mind. We just drew it a turn too late. He has a second Caius. We're forced to Herald this, but we're down 0 cards to 80 million. And yeah, I think he won that one. I don't remember how he won that one. I missed it. He ended up winning that one, but I missed how he won. I think he had cores or something. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Going to the next game, we were trying out the Invisil. I draw it, which is really unlucky because we have no other monsters. And this is how this deck loses, is you just don't draw monsters and you draw a bunch of fucking compulsories and shit. I was trying out the Shadow Mirror as well. I was like, maybe I can get Shadow Mirror Invisil going. That could be kind of cool. I'm not sold on the Invisil. I think I'm gonna change it. I mean, it's good, but I'm not sure. I solemn that because I just have nothing to deal with it. I have nothing to deal with like recurring monsters, and I don't want to take 1,000 every turn. Like I'm gonna take at least 2,000 from this anyway, so I might as well just solemn it. I pick up Royal Oppression. I'm like, that's pretty good. That can stop a sub or Gear Town. He goes Dust Tornado Blind, hits a compulsory. He goes Mausoleum, bring out Ancient Gear, and I'm basically forced to compulse that, or I'm gonna drop to 1,000. I set Trap Dust Shoot. I wait for him to Mausoleum, and then I chain Trap Dust Shoot. Best Trap Dust Shoot ever is when you chain it to Mausoleum, and they only have 1 guy to summon. So we're able to take Ancient Gear, but it's a very scary hand because he has 2 steal effects, and we're at 4,000. So it's not looking good. We take the guy. He shuffles it back. We pick up Thunder King, and I'm like, okay, if we set Thunder King, next turn we can flip it, Mausoleum, normal summon Invisil, attack directly. He has Battle Fader. We have Royal Oppression. We win the game. So I need to fade him to top deck 1 time. I need him to fade 1 top deck. I need him to get unlucky 1 draw. 1 draw here. So I set it, and he draws Ancient Gear Beast. I'm like, bruh. Unlucky. Unlucky. He pays 1,000, summons the Ancient Gear Beast, and we lose our Thunder King. And unfortunately, on the next turn of the game, I choke like a fucking idiot. Because I still have the same lethal. I still have the same kill. I still have brain control. Mausoleum summon the guy, Oppression the Battle Fader, and I win. I still have it. But I was so tired because we'd played like 18 matches that I missed lethal. I've never missed lethal as much as when I played against Roghnach. It's crazy, but when you play against better players, they like make you mess up. That's just the way it goes. But yeah, I missed lethal here, and I should have won this game. Huge L on my part. Huge L. I also could have even Mausoleumed out Christia to prevent the fucking Battle Fader altogether. So I just played this game all sorts of wrong. All sorts of wrong. Yeah, at this point it was just fatigue. And yeah, it'll get to you. It'll get to you. Really, really bad play on my part. Like just terrible play. I lose this game. Like a fool. Like a fool. I lose this game with Oppression, brain control that I could have utilized. And yeah, no, it's just I'm just bad. I'm just bad. And here Battle Faders gets full value out of everything. Oh, dude, this is such a tilting thing to watch. It's so tilting to watch. It's so tilting. It's really sad. But yeah, we should have won that. We should have won that game. We for sure should have won that game. And that was game 2, so we would have had a game 3 there. But alas, here we are. Live and learn, and that's why you practice. That's why we're practicing before Nats. That's why we're training. We're training up. We're hitting the gym. I mean, you're not perfect in the sparring session, but that's why you make these mistakes. You only have to make them once. It says never seen you use Invisil before. I've been sighting it in. I just hadn't drawn it. I summoned the Thunder King. I set the Compulse and I pass. He sets, we draw a Space Typhoon. We DD Warrior Lady Banish, attack for 19. I think we have to Herald of Gores here if I remember correctly. No, we don't. We set, we pass. We pick up Roghnach. Deal 19, set the Roghnach. Yeah, this is all pretty straightforward. It's like really hard for frogs to come back once this sort of stuff is initiated and one of the cards is a compulse. End phase Typhoon hits the enemy controller. We pick up Brain Control. I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. That's Roghnach pop, mill 3. Attack for 21. And I'm like actually big chilling because I have Herald, I have Brain. Like there's no fucking way I lose this game, right? There's no fucking way. Brings back Treeborn. He goes enemy controller, take the Thunder King. I'm like, okay, that's part of my pressure. It's part of my pressure. Maybe I should have compulsed there, but I was a little bit worried about like terraforming gear towns like randomly dying. But I definitely probably should have compulsed there. Anyway, Treeborn comes back. He tributes from Morbius. Morbius is going to activate, target 2 cards. I'm going to Herald of Orange Light the Morbius. That's another thing I could have thought about. I could have just chained the compulsory, bounced like my own Roghnach or something, saved my Herald for something scarier. I could have chained the compulsory, bounces Treeborn, maybe Brain Control, reversal him on the next turn, like just take non-lethal damage. But I was just a little bit scared. I played a little bit too scared this game. I think I messed up this game a lot. But yeah, Alchemist Banish, Roghnach attacks, Alchemist attacks, and then Return was for lethal. So we end up winning anyway. But I played that game a little bit too bitch-made. Honestly, I played it pretty scared when I really didn't need to. I could have pressed my advantage a lot more. It's important when you're testing to not only look at the games where you fucked up and lost, but also look at the games where you fucked up and won. I think it's really important. So a lot of people will be like, I won that game, I don't need to review it. But in a lot of cases, the games you need to review the most are the games that you won because you could have won them better, or you could have found like, more intricate lines or whatever. So yeah. Substoad activates, brings out Swap Frog, sends Treeborn, bounces Swap Frog, sets a card, pass. We summon Thunder King, attack directly for 1900. Set just 1. I was trying to play around him setting Heavy Storm because he had done that in the past, but I'm actually pretty happy it's a Dust Tornado because that means I'm not getting tretched for the rest of the game. He brings out Treeborn. I think he has Gear Town, Ancient Guy, but this is great for us because we have Honest. When he draws the Ancient Guy, it's really bad for him. It's like a really unlucky draw, but that's going to happen some percent of the time, like you're going to draw your bricks. So he takes another 19, and he's just behind like so fucking much right now. Summon Angel, attack for a bajillion million life points, set book, pass the turn, and he loses the game. So yeah, that was it. And that was all the matches we played together. I think I ended up positive by 1 match, or we ended up even. But I am much happier with this later configuration of the deck with the heavy compulsory line. I'm very happy with Thunder Kings. Obviously in that matchup, Thunder King is fantastic. It's much worse against other frog decks. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with the sideboard moving forward. I did cut the Sirokkos. They weren't great. I'm not sure if the DD Crows are something that need to come back. Like I said, the Invisil, the Mirror Force, they're tentative slots. But I have at least 12 cards that, maybe 11. I don't know if I'm going to play 2 Oppression or 1 Oppression. I think I do need to have at least 1 Oppression for Glads and like Quick Draw and shit in case I run into those. I don't know, man. I don't know. Testing is hard. This format is really fucking hard. It's really skill intensive. It'll put you to the test every single game, and almost always the better player comes out on top. Almost always. So, yeah, good shit. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this. It was a lot of matches. It was a lot of volume. I didn't really go as much into detail on a lot of the stuff because I just wanted to make sure you guys got all the games. But if you guys are enjoying this competitive testing, this Nats preparation, let me know in the comments below. Show your support with a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.